Hello, friend. I'm glad you're here. In a world that constantly throws noise, chaos, and challenges at us, the fact that you've chosen to sit down and seek something deeper means something. Maybe you've been tired of feeling easily disturbed by things that shouldn't matter. Maybe you've found yourself wondering why your mood can shift so easily, from peaceful to irritated, from calm to anxious, all because of something small, something seemingly insignificant. Maybe you're searching for a kind of strength that goes beyond the physical, a strength of the mind, the kind that no one else can touch. If so, then you're in the right place. Let's begin with something simple. Have you ever been annoyed by something so small, so ordinary, that it makes you wonder why you even care? A glance from someone across the room, a careless comment from a friend, a driver cutting you off in traffic. It lingers in your mind longer than it should. You replay it, you fume, you think about what you should have said, you try to let it go, but somehow, it clings to you like a thorn. The truth is, you're not alone. We've all felt this, but there's something important most of us never stop to ask. What if the real problem isn't what's happening out there? What if it's how we're responding in here? Imagine this. A stranger says something rude to you on the street. You might feel your chest tighten, your jaw clench, your heart race. You stew on it. You tell your friend about it later. You're still annoyed hours after. But now imagine a 3-year-old saying the same thing to you. You'd probably laugh. Why? The words are the same, but your interpretation is different. Your reaction is different. The insult doesn't land, not because it wasn't said, but because you didn't let it in. The power to remain undisturbed lies in how we perceive, not in what occurs. This understanding is ancient. It's rooted in a philosophy that has endured centuries of war, betrayal, hardship, and change. A philosophy that teaches not the suppression of emotion, but the mastery of one's mind. That philosophy is called Stoicism. It's not about becoming cold or detached. It's about becoming resilient. So resilient that no matter what happens outside of you, your inner peace remains untouched. The man who once embodied this idea, who lived it daily through trials most of us could hardly imagine, was not a celebrity or a warrior king. His name was Lucian, not known by many, but his clarity of thought was unshakable. People came to him with complaints, grievances, heartbreaks, and he listened. Not with pity, but with presence. One day, a man came to Lucian and said, "My neighbor speaks ill of me behind my back." Lucian looked at him calmly and asked, "Were you forced to listen?" That was it. No lecture, no dramatic speech, just one question. Because the truth was simple. No one can harm you mentally without your consent. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a switch. All the frustrations of the world, delays, insults, rejections, are like wires around you. They only activate if you flip the switch. What would happen if you left it off? What would happen if you chose not to react? Let's go deeper. Look back on your week. Think of the things that irritated you, the moments that felt unfair or aggravating. Now ask yourself, honestly, how many of those things were within your control? The driver who took the wrong turn, the rain that ruined your plans, the friend who didn't text back, the email that went unanswered. Did you control any of that? Probably not. And yet, those things held power over your emotions. They pulled you away from your peace. Why? This is where we begin. The first great insight of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. It teaches that there are only two categories in life: things you can control and things you cannot. The mistake we make, over and over again, is wasting our time and energy on the second category. If you can't change it, why suffer over it? If it's not within your hands, why let it live in your head? Lucian used to teach a simple practice. Close your eyes at the end of the day and go through every frustration you felt. Then ask, could I control it? If not, let it go. And if yes, then fix it. But don't do both. Don't try to control what you can't, and don't ignore what you can. This practice sounds easy in theory, but the real world tests us constantly. Imagine standing in a long line for coffee. The person ahead of you is slow, fumbling for change, asking unnecessary questions. You feel the irritation rising. You look at your watch. You sigh. You shuffle your feet. What are you doing? You're reacting. You're giving away your peace. What if, instead, you used that moment to breathe? To practice patience? What if you turned a frustration into a training session? The mind is like a muscle. And like any muscle, it needs resistance to grow stronger. Every time someone bothers you, it's not a curse, it's a rep. It's an opportunity to grow. But most people waste those reps. They get angry. They complain. They miss the chance to become more powerful. Let's return to Lucian. He often told his students, "You are not what happens to you. You are how you respond to it." That was the foundation of his power. He didn't seek a life free of difficulty. He sought a mind free of unnecessary suffering. And through that, he found a freedom that few ever taste. Still, not everything in life can be managed with simple detachment. Sometimes life hits harder. Sometimes you lose something, or someone, you love. Sometimes you fail. You're betrayed. You fall ill. The pain is deep. It lingers. What then? That's when we turn to the next idea, Amor Fati, or love of fate. It doesn't mean you enjoy suffering. It means you accept reality so completely, so fully, that even the harshest moments become part of your strength. Lucian once said, "Don't just bear it, embrace it, make it yours, because in every setback, there's a hidden lesson. In every loss, a chance to grow. You can fight what happens, or you can flow with it. Only one path leads to peace." Imagine your carefully planned picnic gets ruined by a sudden storm. You could curse the sky, or you could dance in the rain. One path leads to anger, the other, to freedom. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." The strong mind turns adversity into fuel. The weak mind complains. Even grief, the heaviest of human emotions, can be touched by Amor Fati. Lucian once lost someone dear to him, his brother, Julian. For days, he wept. For nights, he prayed. But eventually, he stood up and said, "I will not curse this pain. I will not wish it away. I will carry it with honor. I will love the time we had." That was Amor Fati. Not coldness, not numbness, but love, for all of life. Not just the pleasant parts. And now, as you're still reading this, as your own life gently flows in the background, maybe you're remembering a moment like that, when something didn't go your way. When you were rejected, or hurt, or lost something you cared about. Ask yourself now, did fighting reality help you, or did it drain you? Accepting what happens doesn't mean surrendering your power. It means reclaiming it, because from acceptance comes clarity. And from clarity comes action. When you begin to see life this way, a subtle shift begins. You stop being at the mercy of events. You stop depending on people to make you happy. You stop hoping the world will bend to your desires. Instead, you become the one who bends, who flows, who adapts. That's real strength. And that's just the beginning.